everyone, and welcome to Shieldora free cybersecurity training. It's so amazing to be here with you and on this journey of cybersecurity. And we can't wait to break this into non-technical steps for you to be able to understand. My name is Christiana Olusegun, and I'll be your trainer for today. Our first class today is on Cybersecurity 101, which is basically the fundamentals. We're going to be talking about basic concepts in cybersecurity, what you need to know and understand as regards cybersecurity as a beginner. It is very important for anyone getting into cybersecurity to know the nitty-gritty, the basic concept, and what cybersecurity is. And on this lesson, we are going to be talking about 6 agendas: the definition of cybersecurity, its importance, the principles of cybersecurity, best practices in cybersecurity, common cybersecurity terms, and the overview of cybersecurity role. Now, this takes us to the big question: what is cybersecurity? From the word cybersecurity, you can see that we have 2 different syllables. We have cyber and we have security. Now, anytime you see cyber, you just think systems, you think network, you think internet, digital space. Those are what you see, or that comes to your mind whenever you see cyber. And from the word security, in layman terms, it means to secure something, to safeguard it, to protect it. Now, if you bring the 2 words together, cyber and security, it gives us the word cybersecurity. Now, cybersecurity is not just a word, it is not just a role. It has now become a skill that needs to be a practice in our day-to-day activities. That is why it is very much important for anyone, even though you're not in the industry, to understand cybersecurity, to understand what it entails. Now, cybersecurity is a practice of safeguarding or protecting digital assets or space or data from attacks. And these digital assets could include your systems, your network, and your information online. It includes your computers, your endpoints, your mobile devices, your safety online, use of social media in a secure manner. Moving to the importance of cybersecurity. Like I said earlier on, cybersecurity is now essential for everyone, especially in our day-to-day life activities in this age and time. Everyone is now connected. Now, why do we need cybersecurity? We need cybersecurity because there's now a rise in the use of technology compared to when there was no technology. A lot of people are now on social media, more data are being processed. We all use the internet, like virtually everybody uses an internet. Just look around you. You all have a social media account, you all have a mobile device, we have computers, we have laptops, we have IoTs, Internet of Things. And when we say Internet of Things, it means devices that are connected. This could be your smart home, your home assistant, your smart TV, your smart watch. Everything is now connected to the internet. And big data is skyrocketing. Our data is everywhere. We have them in the hospitals as a patient. They have your data at the hospital, your hospital records. They are important data that should not get out there. It should be between you and only authorized persons. Now, if all of this data goes into the hands of the wrong person without due processes, we can say that cybersecurity has been breached or a data breach has occurred. Even the government, they have our data. For instance, if you're in Nigeria, your NIN, your voter's card, your passport, You know, all these are documents that are quite important, very important at that, as a national of any country. So therefore, it is essential for safety, privacy, and stability in a digital world. Another reason why cybersecurity is important now is because there is now an increase in the need for security analysts. Why? Because there's now a rise in technology. According to the US Bureau of Statistics, it has been said since 2022 to 2032 that there's going to be an increase by 30% of information security analysts. Now, this is rising faster than the average kind of occupation. This rise is due to the fact that there is now an increment in the number of cyber attacks, and it is very important for businesses, organizations, individuals to now secure their data. Now that is where you come in. If cybersecurity is something that you really want to do, that you want to get into and start a career in, I need you to know that you are in the right place and it is not a saturated field. It will continue to stay relevant as long as people use the internet, as long as there is social media, as long as there's a need to be on the internet and be connected and have network. You know, it is important that all of this information, your data, your assets, even physical security is now part of it. Because what exactly are you securing if your physical security is not in place? So it is important to protect sensitive data, to be able to prevent cyber attacks. It helps to build trust and ensure business continuity and support national security. So cybersecurity is now needed. It is a growing need in businesses and government parastatals to secure data. Moving on to the principles of cybersecurity. Anytime you hear principles of cybersecurity, we are talking about the CIA triad. The abbreviation is CIA, and C means confidentiality, I means integrity, and the A means availability. So what's confidentiality? From the word confidentiality comes confidence. Confidence means something that has been given to you in private, in secret. Now bring it to confidentiality. It means that you are keeping data private and secure from unauthorized use. That is, the data should only be available to authorized people. Data should only be accessible to authorized people. For instance, your hospital record as a patient should only be accessible to you and your hospital provider, as long as it is between the two of you. We say that confidentiality is still in place. But as soon as it gets out of hand or out of the two parties without your consent, you being the owner of the data, confidentiality has been breached. Now, how can you make your documents confidential? With the use of passwords. Password your account, password your files, password your documents, and also encryption. Encryption is a way of converting information into another code with the use of a key. It's either a party has an encryption key and there is a decryption key. It depends on who has access to the decryption key to be able to decrypt an encrypted data. The next one is the integrity. Integrity means that data is consistent. Data has not yet been tampered with. Data has not yet been altered, or it is still consistent, not altered without permission. What are the ways in which you can ensure that your data has integrity? Is by checking the checksum. Checking the checksum, yeah. Or the digital signatures to detect if it has been tampered with. There are different methods in which one can do this. Using different hashing method can also help you, with the checksums of your document. And the last one is availability. From the word availability, it means that your data, your system, your information is available to only authorized persons. It's ensuring that data or system is accessible to authorized persons when they are needed. For example, backups and redundant systems to prevent downtime. Let's say that in an organization where there is no constant power supply, and what do you think should happen in such organization if they don't have a generator or like a standby generator that can serve and provide electricity to such organization? It means that there's going to be downtime. So there are some things that attackers can do to your network, to your systems or your computer to ensure that you don't have access to it. And as long as you don't have access to it, we can say that availability has been breached. An example is a DDoS attack, a distributed denial of service. This can be done through bots and automation to ensure that your systems are not accessible to you. So in anything you are doing in cybersecurity, you must always ensure that the CIA triad cuts across everything. Now, there is no cybersecurity if the CIA triad is not intact. That is confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Those three things, they are very key. So anywhere they ask you, what is the CIA triad, you should be able to explain what it means from the top of your head, from sleep, anywhere. You know, cybersecurity simply means that we are ensuring that our information, our data, our systems, our networks, our computers are what? They go through the principles of cybersecurity. We must ensure that they all cut across the confidentiality, the integrity, and availability, not two out of one, not one out of two. It has to be the three of them in place. Also, we have something called the AAA model. Now, do not get this mixed up. Do not get this confused. Do not mix it up with the CIA triad. The CIA triad is the main principle. And at the same time, we have a model that also guides us in cybersecurity, which is authentication, authorization, and accounting. From the word authentication, it means that who is allowed to access an information, who is allowed to access a data, who is allowed to access a building, an office, or a computer, or a server. So for you to be able to have authentication, you either need something like a password, your fingerprint, or your iris, something that you have, something that you know, or something that you are. An example of something that you have is your password or your token. An example of something that you are is your fingerprint or your eyes to unlock your phone. Example is your Face ID on your phone or your fingerprint or your phone. That is what authentication is all about. And authorization means that what resources are you allowed to access even after you have been authenticated. Now, it's not just enough for you to be authenticated. You also need to be authorized, because anybody can actually gain access to somebody's password. Let's say there's no, they've bypassed MFA or 2FA, which is the multi-factor authentication. There is a need for authorization to know what that person is allowed to do. Now, are they allowed to read? Are they allowed to write? Are they allowed to execute any process? That is what authorization is about. Now, accounting, which is the third part of the AA model. This is talking about what has been accessed. Now, after you've been authenticated, you have been authorized, we also need to understand what was done. We want to know who accessed what, We want to know if there was any changes, at what time or when was this changes made. That is all what accounting is all about. Going to the next slide is the overview of cybersecurity rules. Now, cybersecurity rules are usually depicted by different colors. The first is the three primary colors, which is the blue, yellow, and the red. I'm sure a lot of us will be familiar with the three primary colors. But in cybersecurity, we have three main teams, which is the red team, the blue team, and the purple team. From the color chart here, you can see that a combination of the red and blue color will give us the purple team, which is what we have now. Now, the red team are regarded as defensive part of cybersecurity. They are the ethical hackers. Now, ethical is the key word because they hack legally, they hack using a specific scope, and they hack by authorization. They don't just act without being told what to do. And the blue team, they are regarded as the defensive part of cybersecurity. They are the defensive team. They are the ones that defend against cyber attack. They are the ones that ensure solid defense against the hackers. So as the red teamers are attacking, the blue teamers are the ones defending against attack. The blue teamers are the SOC analysts. They are the ones that monitor systems, networks 24/7. They are the front line of cybersecurity to ensure security posture of an organization. While the purple team is the combination of the red and the blue team. The red and the blue team give us purple. An example of a role that is in purple team is the cybersecurity threat analyst. They are conversant with both the attacking and the defensive part of cybersecurity. Now, this is the main color of cybersecurity. Now, from the previous color palette, you agree with me that the combination of yellow and blue will give you green, combination of blue and red will give you purple, and the combination of yellow and red will give us orange. But the color in the middle is white. I'm not saying that the combination of all the 6 colors will give you white. It's just trying to say that the white teamers that are in the middle of the 6 colors can work hand in hand with all the other teams. They are the compliance team, the governance, risk management, and compliance team. They manage, they're in charge of logistics, they're like the managerial part of cybersecurity. They are working in all the departments to ensure that organizations are compliant to specific cybersecurity frameworks. Now we're going to pick other course that we have not explained before, because in this world of cybersecurity now, all of these rules are grouped by colors. Just like the color will help you understand the wide range of jobs that are available in this field for you as a cybersecurity analyst. So if you already have technical knowledge, say you are a developer or a coder, there's something for you in cybersecurity. If you're just mid-level, you have little understanding of technicalities in cybersecurity, there's something for you. And if you are from non-technical background, say you did literature, you did English, you did French, you studied whatever from your previous university or school of, or whatever school of you're coming from, people from all walks of life, there's always something for you in cybersecurity. You know, whether you're defending systems, you want to attack them to find weaknesses, manage everything from different standpoint of view, there's something for you. Now the green team, these are the team that enhances security automation with code and design. An example of people that are in charge of the green team are the security engineers, the fine-tune detection rules, they design security architectures, in charge of security automation and security design. While the yellow teams, they are basically the builders. Now, people that already have previous understanding of building applications, building codes, they are like the developers and engineers in cybersecurity who build secure systems. They build the STEAM tools that we use as SOC analysts, they build SWOT tools that we use. They also ensure the functionalities of some tools that penetration testers use, the tool that the red team has, the orange team has, the blue team, the purple team use. Now, those are what the yellow team has does. They're basically the builders. They build using safe and secure codes and design security applications. The orange team, they are like the cybersecurity trainers. Now they facilitate learning, interaction, user awareness, security awareness, and education, just like we are doing right now. We are focusing on teaching people about cybersecurity, awareness, teaching others about the fast rising technology, the vulnerabilities, risks, and threats that are attached to some of these technologies, the policies, and how to stay safe and practice safe cybersecurity. Earlier on at the beginning of this class, I said that cybersecurity is very important in this age and time because everyone is now connected, and it is important for you to understand these things, not just for people that are in cybersecurity. So if anybody asks you, you should be able to, preach the gospel of cybersecurity to them, preach cyber hygiene to people to ensure that they are practicing cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is a practice. It's not just something that you learn and just go. It is something that has to be incorporated into your day-to-day activity. And number one is the use of strong, unique password and a password manager. Now, your password needs to be complex, it needs to be unique and strong. Now, when I say strong, it has to be long. Sometimes it is preferable that you use a passphrase so that you don't forget it, for those people that don't use password manager. But it is important for you to know a password, to have a password manager to help you remember your password and to also ensure that you are not repeating password on different platforms. It has to be unique and different. And a way for us to remember our password is by the use of password managers. There are different password managers out there that you can make your research to know the kind of password manager that you can use. Now, to make it complex, it must have the combination of a capital letter, a small letter, characters, and symbols. Here's an example of a password that is strong and unique. The next one is enabling two-factor authentication. Now, two-factor authentication is having two-way method of authentication. Now, having a 2FA does not mean that you have been protected in any way, because it can also be bypassed. It is just a way to make it more difficult for the attackers, which are the bad guys, to get through to you. We even have the MFA. MFA is the multi-factor authentication, where I said it has to be what you have, what you know, and what you are. That is, example is your password, your fingerprint, your face ID, your token ID. There are just a lot of them. So it is very important for us to have this 2FA in place, just in case somebody has access to your password. There's a 2FA that protects, that gives you a layer of defense. I'm not going to say protect because it is not 100% protection. It just gives you like an added layer of defense against being attacked or being hacked. And the next practice in cybersecurity is keeping your software up to date. Keeping your software up to date. A lot of people are lazy when it comes to updating their softwares. So it is something that we should always practice regularly, because security updates are released because they want to improve on some processes. Security patches have been released to fix vulnerabilities. So it is important for you to always update them as soon as your third parties release them. Let's say you are using a Windows system or your Mac OS or your Linux OS. As soon as an update is sent, you should always update it, even on your mobile devices, some of the social media apps that you use. Don't just ignore security updates. You update them to be able to ensure that you're on the right side of security. Then the next one is be conscious with emails, links, and attachments. Now, this is very important. There's something called phishing. It is an attack whereby a cybersecurity attacker, a threat actor rather, sends you malicious links or attachments. You know, they deceive you, they try to lure you to click on these things, and before you know it, you click on the link. They've cloned a link or a website of a popular social media platform that you know or that you use, and then you think it's the legitimate one. You put in your data, your username and your password, and then voila, they have access to your social media accounts, they have access to your emails. And you know, as soon as somebody has access to your email, almost everything that is connected to your email is at risk. You know, that is why it is very important that somebody that uses some of these tools, you know, some of these applications or softwares, you have to be careful, you have to be conscious on the kind of links that you click on. Make sure that you do not click on links or attachments that are not from verified sources or sources that you are not expecting from. Do not click on them, because nowadays phishing attacks are no longer the way they used to be. Attackers are now improving day to day. There's now the involvement of AI. Before, we usually say that check for spelling errors in phishing emails, check if there is any anomaly in the way the mail was sent. But no, attackers are now using AI. And when you're using AI to draft an email or to create a phishing attack for somebody, there is zero to no mistake in the email, because you know how accurate AI can be when it comes to writing. So now it is important for us to now have like our own sense of urgency, you know, to put our what do they call it? To put our own understanding into this thing. Use your discretion to understand that, okay, this email, this link, this attachment, I was not expecting it, and you just delete it from your email box to avoid you being tempted to click on it. And the next one is the use of a VPN when using a public Wi-Fi. So when you are using a public Wi-Fi, it is important for you to always use a VPN, which is a virtual private network. It is a way of encrypting your network and give you a kind of shield and avoids your IP from being publicly accessible and, you know, and being attacked. So it is important for us to have all of these practices in place to help us and our system secure. Before you click on anything, always think, back up your data regularly as much as you can, so that in case you lose anything, God forbid, a malware attacks your system. Example is a ransomware, and they're asking you to pay for pay ransom before you can get access to your documents. But if you have data in place that has been backed up, you're really not going to be bothered because you have a backup that you can always run back to. And you don't need to be an expert to practice good cybersecurity. You just need to be aware. So security awareness is everybody's business, regardless of where you're coming from, regardless of your background. Cybersecurity is important for everyone. Now, the last part of this free training is the common cybersecurity terms. Now, in case you're not aware about some cybersecurity terms, this is not everything. It is a list that is not exhaustive. The first one is ransomware. So ransomware is a type of malicious software. From the word malware, we have malicious software that locks your file or your system until money is paid or a demand is made to unlock it. Now, imagine just waking up and you try to switch on your laptop and you're unable to open it. They're asking you to pay money, to pay an estimated amount, maybe in Bitcoin or something, and they're asking you to pay. If not, you are not going to gain access to it. That is ransomware. You have been ransomed before you can be given access to your own document, to your own file. And the next one is encryption. Encryption, I mentioned encryption earlier on. It is a process of converting information into a secret code, so that anyone doesn't have access to it. It's only people that have access to the key, which is the decryption key, that can decrypt what has been encrypted. They are usually from trusted organizations. The next one is firewall. Now, anytime you think of firewall, I want you to think of something like a security guard. I'm trying to explain this in layman terms that are, relatable to us in our day-to-day activities, so that it will always bring it to our subconsciousness. Now, firewall is like a security guard in an organization. Now, this security guard is the one that is in control of who is allowed to come in and who is allowed to go out. So they set you based on organizational policy before you're able to go in or go out. Now, let's bring that ideology into firewall. A firewall is a network device that is used to allow traffic into a system. Now, this traffic, they are going in and out, and they are being allowed or blocked based on configured policies or configured rules. A firewall is like a security guard for your computer or your network that decides what is allowed to go in and go out and block anything that is suspicious. It helps to keep out hackers, the bad guys, and also harmful traffic. The next one is a botnet. From the word botnet, we're talking about a bot-like behavior, something that is automated. Now, a botnet they are usually connected network that is being controlled by somebody. For instance, a hacker. A hacker is trying to send malicious code to various systems in an automated way. They will have found a way to get a backdoor and have a lateral movement, and before you know it, they start to they start to attack different systems like a zombie computer. They use them to launch an attack without even the user knowing about it, unless you have some security tools in place that can help detect things like this. And we also have the phishing. I mentioned phishing earlier on. Phishing is just a way to trick you, to divulge sensitive information by deceiving you, lying to you, or even impersonating you, to get personal information like your password, maybe your bank details. And there are different types of phishing. We have smishing, which is done through SMS. We have phishing, which is done through voice call. This one is very important. And it is very common. Sometimes you notice some fraudulent people will call you, lying to you that they are calling you from your bank. Meanwhile, your bank knows nothing about that. They didn't send them to you to send you anything. But they just try to deceive you, to ensure that you click on that fake link that has been sent to you until you release the information that they need from you. So it's very important for us to be conscious. The next one is data breach. So from the word breach, it means that something has been broken. So when we say data breach, it means that a sensitive information or a confidential information has been released to somebody that is not supposed to have access to it, which is called an unauthorized person. Right? When sensitive or confidential information is accessed or released to an unauthorized person without due permission. For instance, if a company's customers' record is stolen by hackers, that is a data breach. Or, for instance, you go into the dark web to do some investigation and you notice that information that you shared with a particular ISP or with a particular bank that you bank with is on the dark web. It means that your data has been exposed. There's been a data breach. And, as organizations, you can be sued if this happens or if you're found wanting in situations like this. That is why it is very important for us to know who we share our data with, how our data are being used. And it's not just enough for you to just sign up into anything. It is important for you to always read terms and conditions, read your data agreements to know what you are signing up for. That way, you know how your data is being used, you know the retention period of your data, and you know if they delete it or not if you stop using such social media accounts or whatever software you find yourself using. So that's that on data breach. The next one is social engineering. Now, social engineering is just a way to hack you as a human, get through to your information in a way that is, manipulative. So social engineering, they are usually done by these attackers to hack humans, to manipulate them until they give confidential information. Now, they don't need to hack your computer. They just need to hack you, the human. They just want to hack your behavior, by lying or pretending to be what they are not. Sometimes, an example of social engineering is romance scam. A lot of people fall for this, and fraudsters, they make use of these techniques. And cybersecurity term is antivirus. Now, an antivirus is a type of software that is used to detect and remove harmful programs or harmful software from your computer. Now, if you have an antivirus installed already on your system or that already comes your system, an example is the Microsoft Defender on Windows system. Now, they help to detect or scan your system as soon as a malicious software is found or you downloaded something that you're not supposed to download. It triggers an alert immediately and it just tells you that, oh, there is a malicious software that has been found. It's just like when a doctor is scanning your body to know if there's any infection so that they can treat it immediately. That is how the antivirus also works. And not just an antivirus, other endpoint detection response tools are also available, but that is not under this class. This is still fundamental studies. The next one is spoofing. Spoofing is, when someone pretends to be someone else to trick you. It could be like a fake email that looks like it's from your bank. For instance, they can just tweak a domain. An example of a spoofed domain is, let me use a domain that everybody is familiar with. So Google is spelled google.com. But when it becomes G00GLE, it is no longer Google. But if you are not observant, if you don't check it very well, you just be sent to a different website that has been spoofed. So it is important for us to be able to differentiate between something that is fake and something that is legit when it comes to domains, when it comes to email addresses and the likes. The next one is Trojan horse. Now, a Trojan horse is something that looks harmless. The file looks harmless, but secretly they carry something that is dangerous. They're usually programs or softwares that are dangerous, but they look like they are not. Then the next one is access control. Access control just means a list of people, in layman terms, a list of people that are allowed to do a particular activity or that is allowed to perform a particular task. Access controls means that you are deciding who is allowed to see or use certain information or systems. It ensures that only the right people get in with the use of authentication, authorization, and your password, your fingerprint, your ID. Let's say it is a physical space, getting into the bank, getting into an organization that is, that security in mind. You have to use like an ID badge before you can enter. And how are you even entering? Are you entering as a staff or are you entering as a guest? All of these are what are used in access control to ensure that you are able to enter a secure place. The next one is penetration testing. I mentioned the penetration testing earlier, which is one of the roles in the offensive side of security, which is the attacking part. Pen testing is just, trying to break into your system. Like I said, ethically. The keyword is ethical and the keyword is legally. Their goal is just to find weaknesses. And when we talk about weaknesses, we're talking about vulnerability before the bad guys find out about it. Because as soon as the bad guys find out about it, they are going to exploit it. And not just exploit it, they will also exploit you for money. Now, the exploitation can be done in various ways. So that is what a penetration tester does, to find out vulnerabilities before the bad guys does. And the next one is a backdoor. A backdoor is just from the word backdoor, something that is hidden behind without anybody knowing about it. That is what it means in layman terms. But technically, a backdoor means that it is a way that has been hidden in a system or a computer without being detected. Sometimes it is left for the creator of the application or the software, like a developer, to find this out, but most time they do not find it out. The hackers just create it so that they can be able to go and come without being noticed. That is why we always say that an attacker can be very patient. That is why it is important for us to be 10 steps ahead of an attacker. An attacker can just create a backdoor and leave until maybe months later when they already get the needed information before they come and attack and strike. So they usually create a backdoor for themselves so that they can always come back to have more access, lateral movement. And when we say lateral movement, for them to be able to keep moving in different directions until when they get to their final destination, where they are able to successfully attack you and take over your system. So it is important for us to find these vulnerabilities, find these backdoors on time, and remediate it and close it up so that they do not have access to it. The next one is a spyware. Now, a spyware is, from the word, something that is the spy, something that is secretly looking at you, but you don't know about it. So this is something that is secretly watching you, watching your device, tracking your keystrokes, what you are typing on your system. They're tracking your password. They're tracking your cookies. They're tracking your websites that you visit. They're sending information without your consent. They're even gaining control to your system with a remote execution, a remote code execution without your consent, because with the use of the spyware, they've been able to see a lot of things that you do. They can even have access to your webcam without your consent, and you're not going to know anything about this. And the last one is a spam. Spam is just basically sending a couple of messages, information, spamming you unnecessarily, sending unsolicited messages that you are not expecting, unsolicited information, to the extent that you do not even have eyes on the ones that are important. So although spamming is not an attack, right? It is not really an attack, but it is something that can make you overlook what is important because you are seeing a lot of unimportant things. Now, there are different common cybersecurity terms that are not stated here, but as long as you continue to learn, there's room for improvement, and it's important to, continue to learn more. We'll have subsequent classes where you continue to get more of these. I know that it might look strange to some of you that are just learning cybersecurity for the first time, and that is fine. It is not difficult, it is not hard, it is just something that you are not familiar with. Something that you're not familiar with, that is why it's looking difficult. But the more you study, the more you know, and the more you share your learnings, the more you teach people about it, it sticks to your head and you don't forget it. Now, that will be all for this class. And if there is any questions and answer, we're going to be taking it during the live session after you must have completed your course, done the quiz or whatever task that has been given to you. So thank you very much, and I will see you in the next session. Bye-bye.